Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Five Nights at Freddy's is a series that has been around for almost 7 years, with a long and complicated history surrounding it. For this video, I would like to cover 255 Nights at Freddy's facts that you may or may not know, including Easter eggs, cut content, errors, and general trivia. Please keep in mind that theories will not be counted as facts, although theories relating to certain facts may be addressed when those facts are mentioned. However, before we get into the facts, I would like to give some shout-outs to people who have requested them in the comments section of my previous videos and posts. I would like to give shout-outs to Mr. Emily, Fusion, The Diamond Nether, Philip Mitchell, Nursery Eye, Winf Cabal, Blaze Anim, Base the Ace, Fishboy 123, The Weirdest Man on Earth, Waxxis, Shade Acther, and Ryolu Fan. I will leave links to these channels in the description of this video in case you would like to check and support them, which I recommend doing. Also, I would like to thank these channels for supporting my own videos as well. If you would like a shout out in a later video, then feel free to leave a request in the comments section of this video or any community posts that I make. There have already been several requests for my next video, so I will remember to include them then. Now, with the introduction finished, let's get into the facts. Molten Freddy's eye color actually changes between most of his appearances. During his salvage jump scare in Pizzeria Simulator, his eye is orange. During his office jump scare in the same game, his eye is red. Finally, in Ultimate Custom Night, his eye is yellow. When Funko released a mystery minifigurine of Molten Freddy, they decided to give him a yellow eye. In the third game, on rare occasions, the posters of Freddy in Camo 2 and Cam 10 may change to posters of Spring Bonnie, the unwithered form of Springtrap. Interestingly, these posters cannot appear when Springtrap is in either of these two rooms. Enid's official design depicts them with both eyebrows. However, there is a constant tendency for them to be incorrectly depicted with a missing right eyebrow in all of their appearances. In Sister Location, Enid is missing their right eyebrow in their extras image, when appearing outside the scooping room, and when crawling towards you in the fake ending. When Ultimate Custom Night's initial roster was revealed, Enid's mugshot once again lacked a right eyebrow, although this was fixed as the roster was updated, with his correct design appearing in the actual game. Help Wanted would continue this running gag, as Enid is missing their right eyebrow for the entire game. Generally, merchandise correctly gives Enid's both of their eyebrows, with the exception of Funko's action figure of them, which removes both of their eyebrows entirely. In Ultimate Custom Night, on rare occasions, one of 3 different enemies from FNAF World may appear on your desk, only to disappear when you pull up the monitor. The enemies who can appear are Bounce Pot, Tangle, and White Rabbit. In the second game, Withered Bonnie's eye color actually changes between red and white. Many people believe that his white eyes are caused by the flashlight. However, there are some inconsistencies that may disprove this. There are occasions where, even though Withered Bonnie has light on his face, his eyes remain red, such as when he is in the hallway. Similarly, there are also cases where, even though he has no light on his face whatsoever, his eyes actually turn white, such as when he briefly appears on the title screen. An extra attack was cut from FNAF World, a poison attack referred to as the Toxic Song. Its status as a poison attack suggests that it was originally planned for one of the Phantoms. Flaming Springtrap is the only skin to have a unique jump scare scream that is not an edited version of their template character's scream. A strange, easily missable detail in the first game is that, when Bonnie leaves the show stage, leaving only Chica and Freddy, Chica's eyes actually disappear. It is unknown why this happens, and Chica immediately regains her eyes upon leaving the show stage as well. In Pizzeria Simulator, when playtesting the Fruit Punch Clown, there is a rare chance that, instead of saying Fruit Punch for everyone, the clown will instead say
"Tell anyone about this and I cut your throat."
This is most likely a reference to William Afton during his murders. When you open a gift box after completing a stage in Help Wanted, there is a chance that, instead of a prize, you will receive a jump scare from Plushtrap. If this happens, then you will be transported to the game over room, although the stage will still be counted as completed. Brightening up most of Five Nights at Freddy's 4's teasers reveals hidden phrases in the background. Brightening up the first 3 teasers reveals the word nightmare, foreshadowing the name of this generation of animatronics. Meanwhile, brightening up Nightmare Foxy's teaser reveals the phrase out of order. Interestingly, Nightmare Foxy's hook seems to be positioned next to the phrase as a question mark, as if the teaser is asking you a question. Brightening up the teaser of Fredbear's top hat and bow tie reveals a phrase within the bottom right corner of the teaser, but part of it is obscured by darkness. What can be seen of the text reads property of FR, followed by darkness, before ending with a. The most common consensus among fans is that the text reads property of Fredbear's family diner. However, some fans believe that some more text may be obscured, with the phrase actually being property of Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. Brightening up Nightmare Fredbear's teaser reveals the phrase "or was it me?" behind him, following the pattern displayed by the previous teasers. Interestingly, some text is hidden behind his stomach teeth, which begins with pro, before being cut off and ending with me, leading fans to believe that the full text reads probably me, foreshadowing Fredbear's responsibility for the crying child's death. Finally, brightening up Nightmare Balloon Boy's teaser reveals the question "hello," an infamous catchphrase of Balloon Boy. Phantom Mangle is the only Phantom animatronic to be absent from the third game's extras menu. Instead, the 7th animatronic slot is a close-up of Springtrap. Originally, the second game was planned to feature a toxic meter that would limit a player's use of the Freddy mask. However, likely due to the constant barrage of animatronics within the game, the toxic meter was eventually removed, although the empty meter sprite can be discovered within the files. Ultimate Custom Night was originally planned to feature voices for Freddy Fazbear and Toy Bonnie. Voices.com listed Tim Simmons, the voice actor for Nightmare Freddy, as the voice of regular Freddy, but this was debunked by Scott Cawthon on Reddit. Instead, Freddy was intended to be voiced by Kellen Goff, the voice actor for Funtime Freddy and Molten Freddy. However, Goff's already recorded lines were instead distorted and recycled for Fredbear. Toy Bonnie was originally going to be voiced by Stephanie Berlinda Quinn, the voice actor for DD, but his lines were ultimately scrapped for unknown reasons, leaving Toy Bonnie as the only toy animatronic without a voice in Ultimate Custom Night. Eventually, both Freddy and Toy Bonnie would be given voices in Five Nights at Freddy's AR Special Delivery. However, it is unknown who voiced these characters or if these are the same voices that were originally intended for Ultimate Custom Night. Special Delivery's Dark Circus event was originally supposed to feature 5 animatronics. However, due to fan requests for previous characters and skins to return, the event concluded with Clown Springtrap, and a 2-part blast from the past event was subsequently held. The identity of the planned 5th animatronic remains a mystery, although many fans have speculated that it was going to be Funtime Freddy, due to the circus theme of the event. Funtime Freddy's voice actor, Kellen Goff, originally auditioned for the role with a German accent, something which he was relieved that Scott Cawthon did not use.
Hello, little children. Glad to see you back again. Come closer. I'll sing a song for you.
Additionally, several lines recorded with Funtime Freddy's finalized voice were ultimately scrapped.
This is my friend Bon. Say hi, Bon.
One of the strangest and most well-hidden Easter eggs within the first game can be found on Night 5 where, rather than a message from Phone Guy, we are instead greeted by a pre-recorded phone message of random and distorted garbling. Of course, during the previous night's message, Phone Guy was caught and seemingly killed by the animatronics, indicating that they are responsible for this message. However, Reversing the phone call reveals that this is actually an excerpt from 1946's autobiography of a yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. Now, I will play the same phone call again, but reversed and with subtitles to show which excerpt is being read. As you have heard or read, the excerpt describes a discussion comparing animal and plant life with mechanical inventions, and a suggestion to bring all three of these things under a common law. Interestingly, the final line of the excerpt, "The joy of creative service," cuts off after creative, leading many fans to believe that the phone call ends with the joy of creation. Many fans have speculated that this excerpt was selected in order to highlight the animatronics' joy of creating more of their kind by stuffing people into their costumes, with it also being speculated that the speaker is actually Freddy himself. Interestingly, another garbled excerpt can be heard when Bonnie or Chico are in their respective hallway corners on night 4 and onwards. This excerpt begins with application of electric currents, before overlapping with the previous excerpt and cutting off it to indicate. Now, I will play the garbling that can be heard when Bonnie or Chico twitch violently, followed by a reversed version of the sound, accompanied by subtitles to show where it overlaps with the previous excerpt. In the second game, when Mangle is in the right air vent, their second head actually clips through the vent wall. In special delivery, Black Ice Prostbear's party pack banner incorrectly features Boulder Toy Bonnie's lures, rather than his own as the other banners do. Nightmare Chico and Jacko Chico are the only two animatronics to have 3 sets of teeth. However, this characteristic would be stripped from their designs after Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Contrary to popular belief, RXQ and Indo 02 were not featured in the second game from the start, being introduced later in the game's 1.03 update. In Ultimate Custom Night, setting Old Man Consequences to 1 and everybody else to 0, and later catching his fish will transport you to the 4th glitch layer from Five Nights at Freddy's World, with the same layout and Red Bear character. Interacting with Old Man Consequences will trigger him to tell you, "Come and sit with me for a while." Leave the demon to his demons. Rest your own soul. There is nothing else. Afterwards, you can walk towards the pond and continually press A and D in order to drown yourself. Once you have been fully submerged, the game will crash. Interestingly, if you have a blank world save file, then discovering this Easter egg will actually unlock the 4th glitch trophy for that game. However, an even more interesting detail, within the Easter egg itself, is what seems to be low, ambient garbling in the background. However, speeding up this sound and altering this pitch reveals that this is actually a person screaming in pain and despair. Due to the game's lore, a majority of fans believe that this is actually William Afton screaming within the torture chamber that Cassidy has created for him. Fans have also suggested that the phrases "I hate Mike" and "I hate Henry" can be heard as well, suggesting that William is furious at them for causing his fiery demise in Pizzeria Simulator. Overall, fans have theorized that this Easter egg represents Cassidy being told to move on from torturing William and allow of the spirits present to pass on, with Old Man Consequences himself possibly being a metaphor for Henry, and that drowning in the pond symbolizes Cassidy cleansing her soul of anger and hatred for William. A supernatural river with distorted screaming in the background. Where have I heard this before? Brief teasers of Molten Freddy, Scrap Baby, and Springtrap were actually hidden within the behind-the-scenes that Cawthon released for the franchise's 3rd anniversary, a few months before the release of Pizzeria Simulator. In the bottom left corner of Funtime Freddy and Bonbon's image, you can notice a tangle of wires and eyeballs that closely resembles the lower half of Molten Freddy, foreshadowing Funtime Freddy's control of Inad and transformation into Molten Freddy. In the bottom left corner of Circus Baby's image, you can notice hair that closely resembles the more human-like hair of Scrap Baby, foreshadowing her reconstruction. Finally, in the bottom left corner of Springtrap's image, you can notice a bony, skeletal hand that closely resembles Springtrap's hand, foreshadowing his more decrepit appearance. While Lefty was not teased in a behind-the-scenes image, many fans believe that the teaser of the Freddy plush with puppet strings attached may be symbolic foreshadowing of Lefty's capture of the puppet. An alternate charging animation for Grim Foxy was planned for, but ultimately did not make it into the Corn Maze in Curse of Dreadbear. This unused animation shows Grim Foxy stop in place and howl like a wolf before charging. When using the workshop in special delivery, some animatronics will undergo slight 1-second changes upon being selected. Toy Chica and Katrina Toy Chica will briefly appear without their eyes or beak. VR Toy Freddy and High Score Toy Chica will briefly appear in their attack modes, and the Jackos, Boulder Toy Bonnie, Swamp Balloon Boy, Frostbite Balloon Boy, and Golden Freddy will briefly appear with glowing eyes. The music box tune infamously used to soothe the puppet is actually a rendition of the chorus from the 1876 song My Grandfather's Clock by Henry Clay Work. The chorus lyrics describe a clock functioning perfectly throughout the 90-year-long life of a grandfather, and permanently stopping after the grandfather's death. This can be linked to the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 music box being an integral part to the puppet's mechanics and having no effect on it once it fully winds down. Upon leaving the prize corner, the puppet's tune changes to a rendition of the first 2 lyrics of the 1852 nursery rhyme Pop Goes the Weasel. However, unlike the previous song, none of the rhyme's lyrics correlate to the puppet's behavior. Helpy was originally going to be named Little Freddy, as evidenced by the MFA files of Pizzeria Simulator. Helpy's official name was later confirmed through a Steam post, since he is never named at any point in the game. A secret entranceway to the Halloween backstage can be found at the northwest corner of Fazbear Hills, meaning that it is possible to enter the backstage without having already beaten the original final boss of FNAF World. Interestingly, all of the Phantom animatronics share the exact same type of eyes as Springtrap, grey eyes with black pupils and pinprick white irises. This had led to a theory that Springtrap is directly responsible for the appearance of the Phantoms, strengthened by the inclusion of illusion discs into the canon. At random intervals in the first game, you can strangely hear a circus pipe organ in the background. While the sound does not become any louder when you check the kitchen camera, this sound is often believed to be coming from the kitchen. Since there have been several theories that the puppet is actually hidden within the first game's kitchen, it is possible that this pipe organ may be serving as a replacement for the music box, possibly explaining why Freddy plays his music box upon entering the kitchen as well. However, there will be more on Freddy's music later on in the video. If you pay attention to Mr. Hippo's jump scare in Ultimate Custom Night, then you may notice teeth resembling those of Indo-01 within his mouth. This confirms that the mediocre melodies, or at least Mr. Hippo, share the exact same endoskeleton model as the original animatronics. Strangely, Toxic Springtrap's profile icon is an edited version of Plushtrap's icon, rather than Springtrap's, as evidenced by the withering on the ears. In the third game, there are 3 different Cupcake-related Easter eggs, the first of which simply involves the Cupcake occasionally appearing on your desk. The other 2 Easter eggs can appear on Camo 4, in the form of 2 drawings that can occasionally replace the toy Bonnie drawing pinned to the wall. The first drawing simply depicts the regular Cupcake. However, the second and much rarer drawing depicts a golden version of the Cupcake, suggesting that a golden cupcake may have existed during the era of Fredbear's family diner, and may have even belonged to a pre-withered chica. An official render of the golden cupcake was actually created by Scott Cawthon for the official guidebook The Freddy Files. During its vent repair stage in Help Wanted, there is a rare chance that you may spot a withered version of Bon Bon by looking to your right during the second elevator descent. This Easter egg appears to be more common during the blacklight version of the stage, which also features a withered version of Bonnet in the background, which will be discussed later on in this video. Pan Stan is the only member of Trash and the gang to be absent from Ultimate Custom Night, with Mr. Hugs receiving 2 background cameos as a prop within the East Hall and as an enemy in Toy Freddy's video game. Animdude is the only playable character to be absent from the teaser for Update 2 of FNAF World. In the Fazbear Frights story Bunny Call, Ralphio is described as being 6.5 feet tall. For reference, this is the average height of a fridge. However, the front cover for the novel instead depicts him as reminiscent of a jolly chimp, which are usually 10 inches, or 0.83 recurring feet, tall. The cover's illustrator, Lady Fizzy, has stated that the illustration was based upon a vague guideline that did not specifically mention Ralphio's height, only mention his colors and outfit. In the sister location Custom Night, the hallway cameras become flooded with static whenever Ballora enters, in order to signify her presence, outside of her music box. However, removing the static reveals Inard within the hallways instead of Ballora. This can even be seen in the actual game, albeit only for a fraction of a second. The most likely reason for this is to simply serve as a placeholder, since the reliance on sound when dealing with Ballora would negate the usefulness of her presence within the hallways. In the second game, when Balloon Boy appears on the camera, his 2 shirt buttons are black. However, when he appears in the office, they inexplicably turn white. Similarly, his balloon and sign disappear when he enters the vents but reappear when he appears in the office. Concerning Balloon Boy's later appearances, Ultimate Custom Night depicted him with white buttons, while Help Wanted and Special Delivery depicted him with black buttons. Also, in Help Wanted, Balloon Boy simply retains his props while inside the vents. When playing the blacklight version of Funtime Foxy's Dark Rooms stage in Help Wanted, there is a slim chance that Indo-01 will spawn in front of you. However, walking up to him will instead summon a jump scare from an animatronic that the game files refer to as Beacon Bonnie. This Easter egg character closely resembles Neon Bonnie, the version of Bonnie within blacklight mode, albeit with distorted, glitchy textures. In Pizzeria Simulator, Music Man and Funtime Chica can be obtained as rare prizes by playtesting the Ball Pit Tower and Prize King. In the first game, the poster of Freddy in the West Hall corner may occasionally change to a more disturbing poster, which depicts Freddy ripping off his head. If you pay close attention, then you may notice that Freddy is actually holding his head by the left side of his chin, which is where one of the hidden handprints is located on his face. Currently, it is unclear if this poster has any actual meaning intended behind it or if it was simply added to the game in order to scare people, but it is commonly theorized that the poster may symbolize the desires of the child possessing Freddy to escape from the animatronic. Occasionally, one of 3 separate items may appear next to the bed in Five Nights at Freddy's 4. These include a vase of flowers, a bottle of pills, and an IV drip. Since these three items combined are imagery associated with a hospital room, fans have speculated that these Easter eggs symbolize either Michael Afton's guilt over the death of his brother or the crying child's final dreams within a hospital before his death. Firework Freddy was the first skin to have a unique charging animation. Rather than simply running towards you, like regular Freddy, Firework Freddy instead runs towards you while holding his firework like a spear. Using the Frame 1 setting on the ClickTeam Fusion 2.5 engines, MFA reveals that Golden Freddy is actually always present within the office in the first game, only becoming visible when his Easter egg is triggered. The fourth game's Halloween edition teasers each have different file names that they save under. Both Jacko Bonnie and Nightmare Balloon Boy's teasers save as in the dark.jpg, reflecting how most of the game takes place in complete darkness. Nightmare Mangle's teaser saves as go-to-pieces.jpg, reflecting their broken, fragile state. Nightmarian's teaser saves as don't wake the baby.jpg, referencing Markiplier's playthrough of the second game, where he referred to the puppet as a baby.
I don't even care about the baby anymore. Goddamn, I don't care about waking up the baby. Let all the little baby plushies sleep a nice sleepy sleep.
Finally, Jacko Chica's teaser saves as boo.jpg, reflecting how her teaser depicts her jump scare. Sister location is actually littered with Biddy Bab and Mini Arena Easter eggs. On rare occasions, Biddy Bab can appear behind the left window of the elevator for the entire trip down, and can even appear behind the circus gallery window on night 3. Similarly, one of the mini arenas can appear on the left side of the primary control module on rare occasions. Also, both of them can rarely appear within the Afton household while Michael is watching The Immortal and the Restless, with Biddy Bab appearing on the right and a mini arena appearing on the left. Finally, in one of the most bizarre Easter eggs in the entire series, a mini arena can appear in the popcorn bowl for a brief second. They were probably hoping that there was room for one more. Coffee, a character from The Desolate Hope, one of Scott Cawthon's earlier games, and FNAF World, makes an Easter egg appearance in Help Wanted, where they can occasionally appear in the FNAF 3 mode and at the back of the prize corner. The main menu theme for Ultimate Custom Night is titled Ice Prostbear. Interestingly, Ice Prostbear itself is the fear of one's own reflection in a mirror. When you consider that two of William Afton's past selves can be activated to punish him, this theme title becomes twistedly appropriate. In the original mobile version of Five Nights at Freddy's 3, Phantom Foxy's jump scare is unavoidable, with him instead attacking you randomly when you lower the maintenance panel. However, his foot is barely visible below the panel, which can allow you to prepare for his jump scare. Thankfully, his behavior was reverted back to normal when the remastered port was released. A recurring form of Easter egg throughout the series is rare boot images, which can randomly appear when you either start the game, start a night, receive a game over, or complete a night. In the first game, there is a 0.1% chance that you may encounter a screen of Annihilus Bonnie during any of these transitions. After approximately 10 seconds, Bonnie's empty eye sockets will be lit up by two pinprick white pupils, with the game eventually returning to normal after an additional second. The files refer to this event as Creepy Start, while fans refer to it as the Bonnie death screen. In the second game, there are three similar screens that each depict Withered Freddy, Withered Foxy, and Toy Bonnie with empty eye sockets. Withered Freddy's screen has a chance of appearing when you launch the game. Withered Foxy's screen has a chance of appearing when you start a new night, and Toy Bonnie's screen has a chance of appearing when you receive a game over. While the Bonnie death screen was accompanied by complete silence, each of these screens are accompanied by the sound of the flashlight failing. The third game has three rare boot images that are occasionally triggered by the same conditions as the Bonnie death screen. Each of these screens reveal William Afton's corpse within Springtrap's suit in greater detail, with each of them being accompanied by the loud, mechanical buzzing sound that plays when Afton dismantles each of the animatronics within the minigames. In Sister Location, When entering the game or a new area, there is a chance that you may be greeted by one of 4 different blueprints for the 4 main funtime animatronics for 1 or 2 minutes. Each of these blueprints reveal the animatronics' weights, heights, and functions. Paying attention to the animatronics' listed functions and the chest cavities of Baby and Funtime Freddy reveals that the Funtimes were constructed to lure and capture children. Finally, Pizzeria Simulator contains 4 different rare boot images that are occasionally triggered by the same conditions as the first and third game's images. These rare boot images depict each of the 4 scrap animatronics laying deactivated within the back alley during a thunderstorm. Molten Freddy's screen reveals his tangle of wires and lack of feet, while Lefty's screen confirms that he has successfully captured the puppet, since the puppet's striped forearm can be spotted within his right shoulder. When choking on 3 action figures in Help Wanted, there is a low chance that, instead of the regular Cupcake, you will be greeted by the Nightmare Cupcake when entering the Game Over room. The second game's files reveal that Mangle's minigame sprite is labeled "He Was Here." Since Mangle appears within the Save Them minigame, this may imply that they witnessed William Afton's murder of 5 children within the establishment. Mendo is the only shopkeeper to not appear outside of FNAF World, since Lolbit and DD have made appearances in games such as Sister Location and Ultimate Custom Night. On night 1 of the 4th game, you can hear what initially sounds like random and distorted ambience. However, reversing the sound reveals that it is actually Night 1's phone call from the first game, albeit highly distorted. Several of the books end with teasers of new animatronics. The original edition of the Freddy Files ends with an illustration of Scrap Baby within the back alley, setting up the events of Pizzeria Simulator. The survival logbook enters with an image of a rundown broken version of Chica, sitting on a chair. This animatronic, commonly referred to by fans as Scrap Chica, is theorized to have been planned for Pizzeria Simulator, due to the teaser's resemblance to the salvage sections from the game. Unfortunately, Scrap Chica does not make an appearance in any of the games. Finally, the updated edition of the Freddy Files ends with an image of a new version of Springtrap, with static erupting his left side, possibly foreshadowing the introduction of Glitchtrap in Help Wanted. In the third game, the code used to access the Stage 01 minigame is 395248. Interestingly, reversing this sequence reveals the code 842953, which is actually the color code for a medium dark shade of magenta, which closely matches the minigame colors of William Afton. At random intervals throughout Sister Location, you can hear a deep, distorted voice calling out the numbers 1, 5, 7, and 8. Raising the pitch of these sounds reveals that it is actually Baby who is calling out these numbers.
1, 5, 7, 8.
It is currently unknown what this Easter egg signifies. It is not spelling out the year that the game takes place in, since the most recent date that you can form with these numbers is 1875, which is more than 100 years before the series events even begin. This mysterious Easter egg was later homaged in special delivery, since these numbers actually levitate around 8-bit Baby when she haywires. Orville Elephant and Funtime Chica are the only 2 animatronics who can increase your bonus revenue in Pizzeria Simulator. Nightmarian's design bears a strong resemblance to Jack Skellington from the 1993 film The Nightmare Before Christmas, since they are both tall and lanky, with black exteriors and bone-white faces. In the first game, a fifth power usage bar can be seen for a split second if you pull up the monitor while having both doors closed and one light on. In Ultimate Custom Night, there is a low chance of Xor appearing outside of 50-20 mode. Upon appearing, she will still summon all 6 members of her roster, one by one. When Ringmaster Foxy and Magician Mangle were first added to Special Delivery, their texture files were grouped with texture files for Funtime Freddy and Lefty, 2 characters who have been confirmed for the game for over a year. The third game's teaser of the box of animatronic parts saves under the file name whatcanweuse.jpg. Prior to the game's release, fans speculated that this suggested that Springtrap would be a hybrid of all of the parts within the box. However, now that Springtrap's nature has been revealed, it is more likely that this file name refers to the owners of Fazbear's Fright, deciding on what they can use for the attraction. Brightening up the teaser of the 7 Biddy Babs, reveals Baby's face hidden within the top right corner of the image, staring down at the small animatronics, foreshadowing their connection in sister location. In Help Wanted, Indo02 has a rare chance of appearing in both the FNAF 2 mode and in Mangle's Ventrapare, with him appearing below the player in the latter stage. Unlike his Easter eggs in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, Indo02 will remain for the entirety of both stages should he appear. The first Five Nights at Freddy's novel, The Silver Eyes, was originally titled The Untold Story. When Withered Freddy is inside the office in the second game, his microphone actually clips through his hand. Prior to Update 2 of FNAF World, the move Freddles was exclusive to Nightmare Freddy. However, Update 2 would assign the move to Nightmare Fredbear as well, replacing his previous Bad Pizza move. El Chip is an obvious homage to Chipper from Chipper & Sons Lumber Company, one of Scott Cawthon's previous games, the negative reception of which led to the creation of Five Nights at Freddy's. In the third game, on rare occasions, an empty Freddy suit may appear in the left corner of your office. Originally, many fans believed this to be Golden Freddy. However, closer examination reveals that the suit is slightly purple, indicating that this is actually Shadow Freddy. Several of Help Wanted's Fazcoin locations are much more unique from the others. Notable examples include feeding Chica pizza in her parts and service stage, strumming Bonnie's guitar in his parts and service stage, wearing Foxy's mask in his parts and service stage, allowing the puppet to attack you in the FNAF 2 mode, entering the code 395248 into the right wall tiles in the FNAF 3 mode, looking up towards the ceiling fan in Nightmare Balloon Boy's Dark Rooms stage, and finding one within Withered Bonnet in the blacklight version of Ennard's Ventrapare stage. In the fourth game, Nightmares, and by extension, Nightmarians, Attack Scream is a distorted version of an ambulance siren. Mirroring the heart monitor flatline that can be heard in Night 6's minigame. In Special Delivery, a cropping error has resulted in part of Frost Plushtrap's arm still being visible in his mini-package render. An interesting pattern within the third game is that, with the exception of Phantom Chica, most of the phantoms are positioned close to remnants of their previous incarnations. For example, Phantom Freddy appears in the hallway behind the office window, which contains a Freddy mannequin at the end, and Phantom Balloon Boy can appear on any camera, which means that he can appear on Camo 8, which houses a drawing of Balloon Boy. While Phantom Mangle does not spawn next to a remnant of Mangle, they do appear in Camo 4, where Foxy's mask is used as a light cover. Since Mangle is an incarnation of Foxy, Phantom Mangle still fits this pattern. According to Scott Cawthon, the most difficult animatronics for him to model were Nightmare Fredbear, Circus Baby, and Ballora. In the latter pair's case, this also included modeling their endoskeletons. When developing the first game, Scott Cawthon first modeled Foxy during a 14-hour drive to visit his in-laws in the summer of 2014. He had the following to say about the situation. It's very difficult to model a 3D character on a bumpy car ride. Maybe this is why Foxy looks so torn up. Also, during the same car ride, Scott Cawthon's children were able to experience Foxy's jump scare for the first time, after receiving criticism surrounding Pizzeria Simulator's office jump scare. Scott Cawthon later updated them with better lighting and slightly smoother animations. When asked about how Ballora is able to move, Scott Cawthon suggested that she glides on a track while spinning, but crawls on all four limbs like a spider when needing to move to further areas. This idea would later be canonized when Ballora was added to special delivery in 2020. In the first game's trailer, part of Freddy's left endoskeleton hand actually clips through his palm. The music played during our Excuse minigame in the third game is actually a serenade composition composed by Franz Schubert during the Romantic era of the 19th century. A serenade is a musical composition delivered in honor of somebody or something, and the term itself is derived from serenus, the Latin for late evening. It is possible that the serenade may have been selected in order to convey the sense that our Excuse actions are in honor of saving the murdered children's souls, which makes sense when considering the theory that he is their collective agony. Freddy Fazbear has the most counterparts out of any animatronic in the series. His variants include Golden Freddy, Toy Freddy, Withered Golden Freddy, Shadow Freddy, Paper Freddy, Phantom Freddy, Nightmare Freddy, The Freddles, Nightmare Fredbear, Nightmare, Virtua Freddy, Prototype, Red Bear, Bubba, Funtime Freddy, Yendo, Helpy, Ned Bear, Rockstar Freddy, Molten Freddy, Lefty, Fredbear, Dark Freddy, Party Freddy, Blacklight Freddy, Dreadbear, The Burnt Freddles, Freddy Frostbear, Shamrock Freddy, VR Toy Freddy, Attack Mode Toy Freddy, Firework Freddy, Woodland Toy Freddy, Black Ice Frostbear, Glamrock Freddy, Chocolate Freddy, Twisted Freddy, Black Time Freddy, Lonely Freddy, and Tagalong Freddy, adding up to a total of 39 variants, 43 if you consider all three of the Freddles and all three of the Burnt Freddles as singular entities. During the development of the first game, Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy were originally just placeholder nicknames for the game's four animatronics. However, Cawthon soon became attached to these names and eventually used them as the official names. There is an unused texture of Toy Chica, staring towards you, labeled Chickalukatu, within the files of the second game. It is commonly theorized that this means that Toy Chica was originally intended to appear in front of you while leaving the office, similarly to Toy Bonnie. An extra chip was cut from FNAF World, a red chip labeled Curse, Haunting. It is likely that this chip would have continuously summoned Freddy ghosts to freeze enemies, mimicking the actual haunting move. In Ultimate Custom Night, Toy Freddy's foot will always appear under the desk in the parts and service room, even when he is inactive. When fighting a lured version of Arctic Ballora, her music box tune changes to a rendition of Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy from the two-act ballet The Nutcracker, originally scored by Piotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky. However, this change can only occur if you use a lure to fight Arctic Ballora and cannot occur from a player-sent clone. Several of the series animatronics are inspired by real-life animatronics from restaurants such as Chuck E. Cheese's and Showbiz Pizza Place. Freddy Fazbear seems to be a hybrid of Billy Bob, since he is a bear, and the 1977 iteration of Chuck E. Cheese, since he has a top hat and bow tie. Bonnie seems to resemble Mr. Munch, since they are both large purple animatronics, but also resembles Jasper T. Jowls, since they are both guitarists. Chica seems to have been inspired by Helen Henny, since they are both chickens and backup singers. Foxy seems to have been inspired by Foxy Colleen, since they are both retired Fox animatronics. Mangle's relationship with their second head and Funtime Freddy's relationship with Bon Bon mirror Rolf de Wolf and his puppet Earl Schmerl. Mr. Hippo may have been influenced by Dolly Dimples, since they are both hippo animatronics. Finally, Orville Elephant may have been influenced by BB Bubbles, since they are both circus-themed elephant animatronics. On rare occasions in Ultimate Custom Night, Happy Frog, Ned Bear, and Orville Elephant may speak in a quiet, sinister tone, accompanied by a low, childish whisper in the background, possibly the vengeful spirit listed by castingonvoices.com.
We've only just begun. I will never let you leave. I will never let you rest.
This is how it feels, and you get to experience it over and over and over again, forever. I will never let you leave.
He tried to release you. He tried to release us. But I'm not gonna let that happen. I will hold you here. I will keep you here. No matter how many times they burn us.
Upon catching Music Man in the Ball Pit Tower minigame in Pizzeria Simulator, his top hat actually clips through the ball pit cylinder. Scott Cawthon has jokingly stated that Bonnet does not abide by the rules of space, time, or physics, in reference to his ability to seemingly teleport across the pizzeria in the first game, as well as an error in the Celebrate poster, where Bonnet appears to be slightly hovering a few inches away from the stage. Springtrap's slightly altered design within the final cutscene of Sister Location is copyrighted by Scott Cawthon as Springtrap 2. However, Funko's merchandise of this design labels it as Dark Springtrap. During an interview with Geeks Under Grace in 2015, Scott Cawthon was asked about how he had gotten the idea for the character of Golden Freddy, to which he answered, "Sometimes, things just happen during the game-making process. I can't explain Golden Freddy, which only enhances the character's mysterious nature. On rare occasions, Biddy Bab may appear outside of the closet in Circus Baby's Night Terrors stage in Help Wanted. However, on even rare occasions, she may even appear behind you within the closet itself." Within the files for the second game, there exists an unused texture for the puppet, which depicts it with a handle and strings, like a traditional marionette. This texture is labeled as Puppet in Office, suggesting that the puppet was originally planned to appear within the office before attacking you. Interestingly, one of the children's drawings depicts the puppet with the same handle and strings, and the puppet itself can even be seen with them before leaving the prize corner. Since the handle is embedded into the ceiling, it is possible that there was originally planned to be a conveyor belt installed within the ceiling, that the puppet would use to reach the night guard before detaching from its strings during a jump scare. However, since this was never depicted in the second game, the minigames depict the puppet with the ability to levitate, while Help Wanted's FNAF 2 mode shows the puppet actually walking on its footless legs. During Bonbon and Bonnet's jump scares in Sister Location, their eyes actually sink into their heads. This is likely a reference to Toy Bonnie's gradually contracting irises in the second game. In the 2020 Happy New Year teaser for Special Delivery, which depicts Indo 01 leaning against a pile of wrapped presents, the black wrapping on the bottom right present actually depicts head icons for Plushtrap, Funtime Freddy, and Lefty, albeit in photo-negative colors. At the time, none of these three characters had been added to Special Delivery yet, so this was meant to tease their arrival. While Plushtrap was eventually added to the game during its Halloween event, Funtime Freddy and Lefty have yet to be added, unfortunately. In the first game, Indo 01 and all of the animatronic masks within the backstage may occasionally stare into the camera. It is unknown if this meant to imply possession or if this is simply a hallucination. Despite receiving new animations in Ultimate Custom Night, all of Bonnet's original animations from Sister Location are actually hidden within the files. It is likely that they were originally used as placeholders during game testing. Examining Springtrap's running animation, which is used in the third game when he runs behind the office window, reveals that his legs do not actually move, revealing that he actually glides behind the window. This was likely done because Springtrap's lower half is obscured during gameplay. One of the biggest mysteries within the series is the box revealed at the end of the fourth game. Despite Scott Cawthon's insistence that perhaps some things are best left forgotten, For now, there are actually two instances where the box was originally planned to be opened. Firstly, a Reddit user by the name of Fiznam discovered, within the coding of the fourth game, that the box was originally supposed to appear again after completing the secret 8th night. This time, after 10 clicks, the locks would destroy themselves, allowing the box to be opened. However, this idea was ultimately scrapped, though Fiznam was able to re-implement the scrapped code into the game. Secondly, the files of FNAF World contain an unused texture of the box, albeit opened, suggesting that the box was originally planned to be opened at some point during World's story. However, both of these planned openings were scrapped, and the box seems to have been retconned from the canon entirely. In the fourth game, Nightmare Foxy can actually be summoned by shining the flashlight towards the bed for 15 seconds, even on nights 1 and 5, where he is normally inactive. This makes him the only animatronic who can appear on any night in the fourth game, and one of the only animatronics in the entire series who can be specifically summoned. Upon entering the main hub of Curse of Dreadbear, there is a chance that Dreadbear may slowly emerge from the lake behind you, before slowly shuffling past you towards the barn behind you. Contrary to beliefs that this Easter egg is triggered by lingering around in the main hub for a certain amount of time, it is actually randomly triggered by entering the hub. Examining Ultimate Custom Night's render of JJ, while she is inside of the right vent, reveals that she actually does not have any arms and that her endoskeleton is just a grey cylinder. The lack of arms was likely done because the only area of JJ that is visible during gameplay is her head, so it would be a waste of time to model something that players would be unable to see. Meanwhile, her grey cylinder endoskeleton may suggest that Balloon Boy shares this same type of endoskeleton, explaining how both he and JJ can move, despite lacking proper endoskeletons. Scott Cawthon considers Bonnet to be the scariest animatronic that he has created, and has even had several nightmares about him. On one instance, Cawthon dreamt that Bonnet was lurking within the hallway outside of his bedroom, causing him to physically jump out of his bed and rush to the door to hold it shut. After discovering that the door was locked, mirroring Bonnie and Chica's disabling of the doors and lights, Cawthon suspected that Bonnie was about to attack. Thankfully, he then woke up from the nightmare. Fans have often theorized that the gameplay of Five Nights at Freddy's 4 may have been inspired by Cawthon's actual nightmares. The music track that plays during the encounter with Inod within the private room is titled Watch Your Six, which is actually a military term for watch your back, while also referencing the goal of reaching 6 a.m. Even though Twisted Chica is physically absent from the second novel The Twisted Ones, she is briefly referenced when Charlotte considers the possibility of a chicken clutching a cupcake to its grotesque chest, which closely fits the design of Twisted Chica. In the second game, there is an extremely low chance of Golden Freddy actually appearing on Night 2, 4 nights before his intended debut. During the development of Pizzeria Simulator, a conversation was hidden within the source codes of both ScottGames.com and FNAFWorld.com. When fully compiled, the conversation plays out as follows. You are crowding us. Be quiet. You can't tell us what to do anymore. Yes, I can. You will do everything that I tell you to do. We outnumber you. That doesn't matter, dummy. We found a way to eject you. You would be lost without me. Ha, ha. Say goodbye to our friend. I can put myself back together. It is fairly easy to conclude that this conversation is between Funtime Freddy and Circus Baby within Inod, with Baby being ejected to become Scrap Baby, and Funtime Freddy later rebuilding Inod into Molten Freddy. According to Kieran, the CEO of Illumix, Freddy Frostbear was originally planned to have a voice, but this idea was ultimately cut. If Frostbear has received a voice, then it is reasonable to assume that it would have had a shivering effect and his dialogue would consist mostly of ice puns. In FNAF World, if Purple Geist is defeated before Chica's magic rainbow appears, then she will be immediately defeated as well. However, this will require the characters to be leveled up to an extremely high degree.
You cheated!
When the puppet escapes from the gift box in the second game, there is actually a short window of time where you can observe 3 different hallucinations of the puppet within the main hall, which each last for only a fraction of a second. A clear indication towards these being hallucinations is that the puppet appears to be floating. Also, when the puppet leaves the prize corner, the camera's static becomes less harsh. Woodland toy Freddy is the only incarnation of Freddy Fazbear to not have a top hat in any form. While Five Nights at Freddy's 4 was being teased on scottgames.com, the website's source code became littered with 8s and 7s. Understandably, many fans connected this to the infamous bite of A87, believing that the 4th game would finally depict the event, which turned out to not be the case. However, some fans somehow interpreted these numbers as coordinates and, upon translating them into Google Maps, actually located a pizzeria within Virginia. Unfortunately, this led to the pizzeria being bombarded with phone calls from Five Nights at Freddy's fans, who believed that it was connected to the series. The situation became so out of hand that Scott Cawthon had to make his first ever Reddit post, which confirmed that the coordinates were just a mere coincidence and discouraged fans from calling any phone numbers that they believed to be associated with the series. As I mentioned earlier, Freddy Fazbear actually has some handprints hidden across his face. As shown by this highlighted image, there is a whole handprint across his right eye and a partial handprint across the left side of his chin. To this day, it is still a mystery as to how Freddy received these handprints, though fans speculate that they indicate that Freddy was responsible for either the bite of A87 or the murder of Phone Guy. If you pay close attention to the lawsuits in Pizzeria Simulator, then you may notice that they each begin within the District Court of Utah, confirming that the games, or at least Pizzeria Simulator, take place in Utah, referencing the novel setting of Hurricane, Utah. Fazbear's Fright, the horror attraction, bears strong resemblances to the real-life attraction Saw, Alive, located in the British theme park, Thorpe Park, as they were both walk-through horror attractions based upon horror stories and used actors to enhance their experiences. Ironically, both attractions were also gutted by fire, although Saw, Alive burned down during its operation and was later rebuilt for special holidays until its closure in 2018, while Fazbear's Fright burned down before its opening and was never rebuilt. Strangely, in Help Wanted, Toy Freddy is actually missing his upper teeth. This may have been done for the same reason why the endoskeletons lack wires, in order to ensure that the game runs efficiently. In Ultimate Custom Night, Mangle is actually missing their endoskeleton mouth during their attack animation. The first teaser for the sister location Custom Night depicts both Bonbon and Biddy Bab crawling through the office vent. While this teaser is accurate to Biddy Bab's in-game behavior, Bonbon instead enters the office through either of the doorways. This teaser suggests that Bonbon may have originally been planned to be able to enter the office through the vent as well, but his mechanics were simplified. One of the more disturbing Easter eggs within the 4th game is that the Freddle's screeching sound is actually a high-pitched version of the sound of pigs squealing within a smokehouse. Due to copyright reasons, Bonnie and Toy Bonnie's guitars are either significantly altered or removed entirely in the console ports of the first 2 games, as well as in Help Wanted and Special Delivery. In Curse of Dreadbear, if the player scores less than 1000 points in the Pirate Ride, then they will be greeted by a jump scare from Captain Foxy. In Ultimate Custom Night, Plush Trap and Nightmare Balloon Boy make the normal nightmare jump scare scream, rather than their high-pitched jump scare screams from Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Thankfully, their high-pitched screams would return in Help Wanted. On the 26th of April, 2018, a large portion of the third Five Nights at Freddy's novel, The Fourth Closet, was accidentally leaked by Amazon, including the ending. After the leak was taken down by Scott Cawthon, he decided to release the novel earlier on the 26th of June of the same year. In Pizzeria Simulator, the pickles are only unlocked after purchasing every single item, as well as earning the Posh Pizzeria badge, which is earned by placing Music Man, El Chip, and Funtime Chica on the stage at the same time. There were several animatronics that were planned for Help Wanted but were ultimately scrapped. These include Toy Proxy, who was used for AI testing for the Dark Rooms and Night Terrors modes, Distorted Chica, who was later replaced by Withered Chica in Curse of Dreadbear's opening, the Burnt Freddles, who may have been part of a planned hard mode for Curse of Dreadbear, and an early design for Glitch Trap, which was an untextured Springtrap with small stitch-like indents across its body. There are also hints that Spring Bonnie was originally planned to appear in the game, with his role eventually being filled by Glitch Trap. Evidence for this assumption includes his appearance on early box art for the game, an unused texture map for him, and an early stage icon for Pizza Party, which shows his shadow against the stage curtain. On rare occasions in the first game, the posters on the walls of the East Hall may be replaced by crudely drawn images of crying children, styled after Edvard Munch's Der Schrei der Natur, or the Scream as it is often referred to. Strangely, these drawings bear a strong resemblance to the puppet, further indicating that the puppet may be present within the first game's location. Several unused textures hidden within the files suggest that Special Delivery will later receive, or was originally meant to include, a VIP subscription service. Judging the unused textures and graphics, it seems as though members of the service would have been showered with rewards, such as lures, batteries, Faz coins, etc. However, it is unknown when, or even if, the VIP subscription service will be implemented into Special Delivery. There were several secrets hidden within the source code of scottgames.com. When Innard's sister location teaser was first uploaded, the first section can be decoded and rearranged to form a possible schedule for the 4 main Funtime animatronics, as well as an unknown 5th animatronic. While it is stated by Hand Unit that the Funtimes are available for rental,
unlike most entertainment venues, our robotic entertainers are rented out for private parties during the day.
This was unfortunately never shown in the actual game. Meanwhile, the second section contained several abbreviations, the translations for which I will display on screen now. While most of these terms are fairly self-explanatory, the 3 most interesting are certainly Afton Robotics Incorporated, Chica's Party World, and Criminal Institute. The first term refers to William Afton's robotics company, which was later confirmed through blueprints in both Sister Location and Pizzeria Simulator. Chica's Party World may have been a sister location to Circus Baby's Pizza World, and may even have starred Funtime Chica, explaining her absence from Sister Location. Finally, while there is no mention of a Criminal Institute in Sister Location, it is entirely possible that William Afton may have used his advanced animatronic technology to assist within an institute, which may have led to his quest for immortality. Occasionally, one of the mini-arenas may appear in one of the doorways in Plushtrap and Nightmare Balloon Boy's Dark Rooms stages in Help Wanted. On rare occasions in the first game, the rules for safety sign within the East Hall corner may be replaced by one of 4 different newspaper clippings that reveal important information surrounding the pizzeria's history. The first 3 clippings describe the Freddy Fazbear's Pizza that existed in 1985, in between Fredbear's Family Diner and the Five Nights 2 Pizzeria, describing the missing children incident and the numerous health complaints aimed at the pizzeria. The 4th clipping, which reveals that the pizzeria is planned to close by the end of the year, is likely referring to the first game's pizzeria, since it has been several years since the missing children incident. Alongside the battle theme, one extra piece of music for FNAF World was leaked before the game's release. However, the second piece of music, Ice Cave, never made it into the actual game, suggesting that a planned ice-themed area for the game was scrapped. When Funtime Freddy is in the left closet in the sister location Custom Night, you can actually notice Bonbon's shadow on the left wall, despite him being aimed out of the camera's view. While the blacklight animatronics were scrapped as antagonists for Help Wanted, they are actually still hidden behind the curtain within the game's main hub. A few of the series characters were first introduced as Easter eggs. These include Golden Freddy, RXQ, Shadow Freddy, Indo02, JJ, the Paperpools, Lolbit, and Yendo. The reason why I have lumped all of these characters together is because they are all fairly well known, so it would have been a waste of facts to list them individually. On the other hand, characters like Beacon Bonnie and Coffee are much more obscure, hence why I have listed them as their own facts. Anyway, let's quickly run through how these characters' Easter eggs functioned. In the first game, the poster of Freddy within the West Hall corner has a 0.0001% chance of changing to a close-up of Golden Freddy's face. Upon the discovery of this Easter egg, Golden Freddy will be summoned into the office, accompanied by flashing hallucinations and a young child's laugh. If the player does not pull up the monitor within 5 seconds, then they will be greeted by Golden Freddy's kill screen and a game crash. A majority of the series' Easter egg characters originate from the second game. Beginning with RXQ, he has a 0.0001% chance of appearing on the left side of your office. If the player does not either pull up the monitor, shine the flashlight, or put on the Freddy mask within 4 seconds, then RXQ will fade away and crash the game. Moving on to Shadow Freddy, he has a very low chance of appearing within the parts and service room when all of the withered animatronics have left, slumped over in withered Bonnie's spot. Contrary to popular belief, Shadow Freddy actually does not crash the game if a player stares at him for too long. Since the parts and service camera is disabled during the custom night, the best nights to attempt to find Shadow Freddy are nights 5 and 6. Unlike the other Easter egg characters, Indo02 can actually appear in 2 areas: the prize corner and the left hair vent, with the chances of him appearing in each being 10% and 0.1% respectively. Interestingly, the chances of Indo02 appearing in the prize corner actually increase when the puppet escapes from the gift box, and he can actually block any animatronics from entering the left hair vent. Moving on to JJ, she has a random chance of appearing underneath your desk, with only her face partially visible. Possibly the most surreal Easter egg characters are the 3 Paper Pals, who appear in Party Room 4, pinned to the wall. On rare occasions, the Paper Pal that resembles Balloon Boy will actually disappear from the party room and, on even rare occasions, reappear in your office, with different theories suggesting the culprit to be either Withered Chica, Toy Bonnie, or Toy Chica. Even though Paper Balloon Boy remains within the box for the entirety of the third game, both Paper Freddy and Paper Bonnie have a low chance of appearing in your office, appearing on the right and left respectively. Finally, there are the 2 sister location Easter egg characters, Lolbit and Yendo. On any night but night 4, there is a low chance of Enad's mask, within the primary control module, being replaced by Lolbit's mask. Meanwhile, Yendo has a low chance of appearing when you attempt to traverse the Funtime Auditorium on night 3, in one of 3 different stationary positions. Of course, all of these characters have had appearances in later games, hence why I have merged them all into one fact. In Help Wanted, Helpy has a rare chance of appearing both behind the monitor in the main hub and behind you in the FNAF 2 mode, with him remaining there in both instances until you enter a new area. In sister location, hand unit refers to Funtime Foxy with female pronouns.
It's important to keep the room dark, as to not accidentally activate her.
While his angsty teen voice refers to them with male pronouns.
Let's check on Funtime Foxy. Make sure he's ready for showtime tomorrow.
Adding further fuel to the debate surrounding Funtime Foxy's gender. A rather strange unused asset within the files of the second game is a sprite of part of a skull's face, with a black substance streaming from the right eye. This sprite is labeled as Mike within the files, seemingly as a reference to Mike Schmidt from the first game. On night 2 of Sister Location, hand unit emits strange, electronic garbling in between shocking Ballora and checking on Funtime Foxy. However, if the sound is sped up by 200% and the pitch is increased by 25%, then a hidden message is revealed.
Argumentative, standards, elevation, passive, heights.
However, it is unknown what this message means. Strangely, Balloon Boy is actually never mentioned by Phone Guy, nor does he appear within any of the death minigames with the second game. Back when the second game was first released, this led a lot of fans to theorize that Balloon Boy was actually just a hallucination, which is, of course, debunked by his appearances in later games. Instead, it is more likely that Balloon Boy was perhaps created late in Five Nights at Freddy's 2's development, and that Scott Cawthon did not have enough time to rewrite any of the phone calls or change any of the minigames in order to incorporate Balloon Boy into them. In Sister Location's real ending, there is an uncommon glitch that prevents the scooper from killing you. If this glitch occurs, then Inard will disappear and the game will be left locked into the scooping room. 2 pre-release screenshots imply that Dreadbear may have originally been planned to appear within the hallway crawl stage within Curse of Dreadbear. Vanny's name was first revealed through the source code of the teaser for Glamoric Freddy. When analyzing the teaser's code in Notepad, you can notice the phrase Shadow of Vanny, confirming the reluctant follower's name. Similarly, when the first teaser for Security Breach was revealed on scottgames.com, the website's source code contained a hidden conversation, believed to be between Glitchtrap and Vanny. The conversation plays out as follows: stay the course. I will. Focus on my voice. I will. Don't let anyone lead you astray. I won't. Have you selected one? I have. However, after further information was revealed about Security Breach, several fans have speculated that the conversation may actually be between Vanny and one of the Glamoric animatronics. The first game's jump-scare scream is actually taken from the 1981 sci-fi horror film Inseminoid, from the scene where a character is giving birth to an alien child. Since the scream is fairly high-pitched, a majority of people believe that the scream comes from the spirits of the children possessing the animatronics. While this may be true within the universe of Five Nights at Freddy's, the jump-scare scream itself is not actually a child's scream. In the fourth game's Halloween edition, Jacko Bonnie's jump scares are slightly faster than Nightmare Bonnie's jump scares. There is a slim chance of you being immediately jump scared by a phantom animatronic upon starting a night in the third game. This seems to most commonly occur on nights 4 and 5, where you may be immediately jump scared by either Phantom Chiku or Phantom Foxy upon starting those nights. In Ultimate Custom Night, Happy Frog is immune to the heater, in reference to the fact that real-life frogs are cold-blooded, meaning that they rely on external heat. At several intervals throughout Special Deliveries trailer, 8-bit sprites of Lefty, Spring Bonnie, and William Afton can be briefly glimpsed for a split second each. While the latter two sprites may represent William Afton's digital return, the Lefty sprite may indicate that the puppet's spirit may return as well. Night 1's phone call in the third game is the longest phone call in the entire series, lasting for up to 4 in-game hours, which equates to 2 minutes and 41 seconds in real time. Strangely, Curse Springtrap is only labeled as Curse in Special Delivery, making him the only skin to not include the name of their template animatronic within their name. In Help Wanted's first trailer, Nightmare Fredbear is incorrectly colored like Nightmare Freddy. This was explained to be the result of beta footage being used for the trailer, since the game needed to be promoted as soon as possible. Of course, Nightmare Fredbear was colored correctly in the actual game, though his beta model was actually still used for his action figure icon within the prize corner. JJ originally had one additional voice line planned for the Foxy Fighters stage in Update 2 of FNAF World. However, this pre-recorded line was scrapped, due to it containing mild profanity.
Now I'm going to kick your ass! Wait, what? I can't say that in the game.
In the first game, there is a 0.1% chance of the It's Me hallucinations appearing for every second. Of course, these hallucinations consist of the phrase "It's me," which will be covered later, 2 variations of the Bonnet death screen, and a close-up of Freddy with bloodshot human eyes, most likely symbolizing Mike Schmidt's anxiety over his inevitable fate. When inside the private room during Sister Location's fake ending, if you entered the code 1983 into the keypad on the wall, then the monitors will display images of the 4th game's bedroom, as well as Plush Trap's hallway, further implying that the events of the 4th game's nights were actually real. Unfortunately, this Easter egg is absent from the custom night, likely due to the keypad and monitors being tied to Lolbit's mechanics. In the original mobile version of the second game, Toy Bonnie does not appear in Party Room 4, nor does Toy Freddy appear in the game area, likely due to technical limitations. Even though Nightmare Mangle hangs from the ceiling in their teaser, they are never shown to do this in the 4th game's Halloween edition. However, it is possible that Nightmare Mangle may have originally been planned to hang from the ceiling while peeking out of the hallway, since they never actually appear in the hallways in the actual game. During Sister Location's development, Scott Cawthon released a teaser that claimed that the game had been cancelled due to leaks, likely in response to Ballora's voice lines being leaked early. However, brightening up the teaser reveals that, not only was this a hoax by Cawthon himself, but that there is also a hidden incident report that describes the shutdown of Circus Baby's Pizza World, due to alleged gas leaks. The report reads as follows: in other news, the grand opening of Circus Baby's Pizza has been cancelled due to reported gas leaks in the building. Sources close to the establishment question the report, saying that strange activity around the area at night suggests something else is to blame. One local is quoted as saying everything just stopped. There was so much excitement built around this place opening and then they just stopped talking about it. There were only a handful of people that ever got a look at the inside, kids from here and there, making sure everything works right. You know, I guess they weren't quite as ready as they thought they were. A tenant from across the street claims to have witnessed a large group of cars surrounding the building during the night and large pieces of equipment being taken out of the building under tarps. A few weeks later, the building was for sale. There is no comment yet from the local entrepreneur who financed the venture. When the teaser was first revealed, the source code of scottgames.com contained a brief continuation of the report. If anything, it was just too soon for such an ambitious venture. There is still a bright future for Circus Baby, so be watching for her to appear at a neighborhood party near you. It has been speculated that the supposed gas leaks were just a cover-up story, fabricated in order to allow William Afton to safely transport the Funtime animatronics back to the underground facility, after Elizabeth was killed by Baby. One of the most infamous pieces of cut content from the first game is a screen of all 3 animatronics staring into the show stage camera. A Mandela effect has led to several fans claiming to have seen the image within the game itself as an Easter egg. However, despite solid evidence, it has been proven that this screen unfortunately cannot be triggered within the game itself. After completing Night 6 of the 3rd game, you are greeted by a newspaper that reports that Fazbear's fright has mysteriously burnt to the ground overnight, containing a few hidden Easter eggs. Brightening up the image reveals Springtrap staring at the Freddy bobblehead from behind, confirming his survival. Meanwhile, unblurring the text surrounding the article reveals several pieces of the original trilogy's development history, told from the perspective of Scott Cawthon himself. In the opening of the first game, the Help Wanted advertisement is surrounded by several columns of blurred out text. However, removing the blur effect reveals that the outer text is actually taunting and dismissing you. The outer text reads as follows: blah, 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 blah. This ad has nothing to do with anything relevant to the game. Blah, 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 blah. Chances are you won't make it past night 3. Blah, blah, yakety smackety. Blah blah. This possibly isn't the best choice of summer job, since you most likely won't survive the week. I'd recommend being a cashier, sack boy, or working in a warehouse. They are all very respectable jobs, and you probably won't be killed by them. Well, you might, but it would be unlikely. Blah blah. This taunting filler text would actually be reused in the opening newspapers for the second and third games as well. Nightmare Balloon Boy's head does not appear to be connected to his lower jaw and seems to just float above it, with the exception of one frame within Fun with Balloon Boy, in which his head and lower jaw seem to be connected by 2 cylinders. In the Trick or Treat stage from Curse of Dreadbear, Balloon Boy was originally planned to have a jump scare animation for when he is greeted with the incorrect mask. However, presumably due to its ineffectiveness, this jump scare was eventually scrapped, hence why Balloon Boy is replaced with Nightmare Balloon Boy when the player fails to wear his mask. In Fun with Plushtrap from the 4th game, when Plushtrap is sitting on the X, his left hand actually clips through his left foot. As I am sure that most of us are aware, when Bonnie or Chica make it into the office in the first game, they will alert you to their presence with sounds akin to labored breathing. However, on extremely rare occasions, Bonnie may actually groan before he even enters the office, such as when he is outside the left doorway and even when he is in the west hall corner. It is unknown if this is a glitch or an intentional feature. Similarly to fact number 8, when Withered Bonnie leaves the parts and service room in the second game, Withered Chica seems to fall over,
I've fallen, and I can't get up,
making her easier to see on the camera. This suggests that, when Withered Bonnie leaves the room, he accidentally knocks over Withered Chica. In the FNAF 1 mode in Help Wanted, looking outside of the left doorway will actually trigger Foxy to run through the hallway towards you. However, if you are fast enough, then you can close the door before he reaches you. During the development of the first game, Freddy was originally planned to remain on the show stage for the entire night and to only attack when you run out of power. Of course, since he is the main antagonist of the game, Scott Cawthon decided to give a more important role to Freddy. While he does remain on the show stage for the entire first 2 nights, unless you run out of power, he later becomes active on night 3 and onwards, where he gradually makes his way towards your office while laughing and keeping himself hidden within the shadows. Jacko Chica is the only character in Special Delivery who speaks upon being defeated, regardless of which CPU she is equipped with. In the first game, you can sometimes hear a pirate song being sung in the background. The singing actually becomes louder when you check on Pirate's Cove, revealing that it comes from Foxy. Foxy's singing is triggered at complete random and does not signal anything about his behavior. Springtrap's name was actually revealed prior to the release of the third game. If you pay close attention to Scott Cawthon's Steam post that describes the game's successful beta testing, then you may notice that there are several instances where letters are repeated. Compiling all of the repeated letters actually spells out the phrase "My name is Springtrap," subtly confirming the name of the game's main antagonist. In Ultimate Custom Night, an Easter egg can be triggered by setting Golden Freddy to 1 and everybody else to 0, purchasing the death coin, and using it on Golden Freddy when he appears. After purchasing the death coin, a purple top hat will appear on your desk, and using the death coin on Golden Freddy will summon a jump scare from Fredbear, followed by highly distorted voice lines. According to Fredbear's voice actor, Kellen Goff, these lines were originally intended for Freddy Fazbear, but were ultimately reassigned to Fredbear. Fans have managed to decode 2 of Fredbear's distorted voice lines, revealing the lines referencing the introductory greeting read by Phone Guy in the first game, and referencing the animatronics reaction to costume-less endoskeletons in the first 2 games. Moondrop's face bears strong resemblance to the moon from Soul Eater, since they are similarly shaped like a crescent moon. In Ultimate Custom Night's sound files, Candy Cadet is strangely referred to as Cadet Ghost, possibly suggesting that some form of a spirit may be present when Candy Cadet briefly activates. As I am sure that we are all aware, Freddy's infamous music box tune is a rendition of the Toreador March from the opera Carmen by Georges Bizet. The song's lyrics are sung by a bullfighter, who describes situations within a bullring, as well as the cheering of the crowds and the fame that comes with a victory. As a result, it is possible that this song may have been chosen to symbolize Freddy celebrating his victory before attacking the Night Guard. Perhaps, it could even symbolize the child's spirit celebrating the imminent demise of his believed killer. In the 4th game's extras menu, Nightmare Fredbear has 1 black button and 1 white button. However, during gameplay, both of his buttons are black, which is very similar to fact number 39, possibly as the result of a lighting error. Unfortunately, Nightmare Fredbear is never fully visible in Ultimate Custom Night, so I cannot confirm which color his buttons are in that game. However, in Help Wanted, he actually has 1 white button and 1 black button, just like in the 4th game's extras menu. During Withered Bonnie's attack animation in FNAF World, his right shin slightly clips through his right foot. Strangely, Phantom Balloon Boy's Help Wanted render does not have any legs or a nose. However, what is even stranger is that a completed render can actually be found within the files, which completes his appearance, as well as providing him with a completed sign and balloon. Presumably, his appearance may have been altered in order for him to appear more ghostly. After the Give Gifts, Give Life minigame has been completed in the 2nd game, a 5th child can actually be seen for a single frame before Golden Freddy's jump scare appears. Of course, this 5th child represents Cassidy, one of 2 spirits that compose the Golden Freddy entity. Special Deliveries coding incorrectly refers to 8-bit baby as a skin, despite being her own character. Michael Afton's shadow in the real ending of Sister Location is actually a blacked out image of real-life singer Rick Astley. There have been several horror films released in the past 3 years that have been noticed for their similarities to the upcoming Five Nights at Freddy's film. The first, and most coincidental, of these was 2019's Child's Play, a reboot of the 1988 film of the same name, since the main antagonist, Chucky, is also a murderous animatronic. However, the film's similarities to Five Nights at Freddy's are purely coincidental, since the Child's Play series has been around for far longer. However, a much less coincidental example of this was 2019's The Banana Splits movie, based upon the Hanna-Barbera television show of the same name from 1968. Starring 4 murderous animatronics, the film is often speculated to be a reworking of an original draft for the Five Nights at Freddy's film. This theory is supported by the fact that the film's distributor, Warner Brothers Pictures, was originally tasked with creating the Five Nights at Freddy's film before the rights were eventually given to Blumhouse Productions. The final, and most recent, example is 2021's Willy's Wonderland. Since the film also features a cast of murderous animatronics, many viewers have compared the film to the Five Nights at Freddy's series, despite denials of resemblance from the film's director and writer. It turns out that the private room is not the only source of Five Nights at Freddy's 4 connections within Sister Location. If you pay attention to the map of the facility while inside the breaker room on night 2, then you may notice that some areas bear strong resemblance to areas from the 4th game. In the bottom left corner, below the Ballora gallery, the layout closely matches that of Plushtrap's hallway, with grey dots to mark the animatronics' various positions. In the top left corner, next to the circus gallery, the layout closely resembles that of the 4th game's end of night minigames, with grey dots to mark the positions of Fredbear and Spring Bonnie within their diner, and a white dot to mark the crying child's position within his bedroom. Finally, in the top right corner, next to the private room, the layout closely matches that of the 4th game's bedroom, with grey dots to mark the positions of the nightmare animatronics. Since the facility of sister location is located underground, this Easter egg suggests that there are secret passageways within each of the 4th game's locations that lead into the underground facility, further supporting the theory that the 4th game's nights were actually real. A total of 9 screenplays were rejected for the Five Nights at Freddy's film before the film's official screenplay was decided upon, as detailed by a Reddit post from Scott Cawthon that described each of the scrapped screenplays and why they were rejected. The first of these was the F screenplay, which involved a group of teenagers breaking into Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, where they discovered an underground factory that was designing animatronics for the government. Cawthon immediately rejected this screenplay because of how far it strayed from the source material. Next was the Plushies Take Manhattan screenplay, likely a parody of 1984's The Muppets Take Manhattan. Unsurprisingly, this screenplay was also scrapped, due to its silly premise. Next was the Random Charlie screenplay, which involved Charlie and their friends breaking into the pizzeria overnight, in order to retrieve a lost toy. Cawthon rejected this screenplay because he felt that it was just random Five Nights at Freddy's elements thrown together with no real stakes. Interestingly, one of the scrapped screenplays was an adaptation of the first Five Nights at Freddy's novel, The Silver Eyes. For about a year, Scott Cawthon and Ira Breedresley, the second writer of The Silver Eyes, worked on 3 different versions of the screenplay. However, due to their inexperience with writing, and the decision that the films should be adaptations of the games rather than of the novels, the adaptation was ultimately shelved. Next was the Pawn Shop screenplay, which involved the animatronics attempting to retrieve one of their kind from a pawn shop, with a group of children being roped into the affair. While Cawthon found this to be a creative approach, he ultimately rejected the screenplay, due to its lack of horror, jokingly referring to it as a boy and his animatronic. Possibly the most interesting scrapped screenplay was the Cassidy screenplay, which would have focused on the life of Cassidy, one of the 2 spirits within Golden Freddy, spanning multiple characters and time periods. Unfortunately, this screenplay was also rejected, since Cawthon felt that it would be too confusing to people who were unfamiliar with the game's lore. The screenplay that was considered for the longest time was the Misfit Kid screenplay, which involved a single mother bringing her child to a modern-day Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. While Cawthon considered this screenplay for a while, he ultimately decided against it because of the contrivance of needing to connect the protagonists to the pizzeria. Next was the Ghost Trackers screenplay, which involved a group of ghost trackers sneaking into an abandoned Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. This screenplay was ultimately scrapped, since the need to tie the protagonists into the pizzeria's history took away a lot of attention from the pizzeria and animatronics themselves. Finally, there was the Insane screenplay, which was similar to the previous screenplay, except with the inclusion of the puppet and the Funtime animatronics. This screenplay was rejected because Cawthon felt that it leaned too far into action than horror. Ultimately, Cawthon chose the Mike screenplay for the film's actual foundation, suggesting that the film will focus on Michael Afton and his connection to his murderous father and Fazbear Entertainment. P.J. Hayward's voice acting for Springtrap and Scraptrap was inspired by Anthony Hopkins' portrayal of Hannibal Lecter in 1991's The Silence of the Lambs. In special delivery, if Plushtrap is equipped with any CPU aside from his own, then his plush suit and CPU drop rates are locked to 0%. This also applies to his alternative skin, Frost Plushtrap, as well as any future skins for him. In the second game, when Mangle and Withered Foxy are within the hallway at the same time, Mangle's pink accents become slightly red, likely symbolizing their murderous behavior. When Biddy Babs is about to leave the vent in Sister Location's custom night, her right faceplate fully clips through her right shoulder. In Mangle's vent repair stage in Help Wanted, a development note is actually written on the exterior of the map, which reveals that a ceiling vent was originally planned for the stage. However, this fourth entrance point was scrapped, possibly because it would have made the stage overly complicated. In the first game, there is a 0.01% chance of Golden Freddy's kill screen appearing after the game over screen. During the development of Sister Location, Funtime Freddy and Funtime Foxy originally had each other's finalized color scheme, with Funtime Freddy originally being pink and Funtime Foxy originally being purple, before their color schemes were eventually switched around. Also, Funtime Freddy originally lacked both Bonbon and his chest speaker, before both editions were made. Funtime Freddy and Funtime Foxy's beta designs are actually viewable in their making of segments in Sister Location's extras menu. Montgomery Gator is the only animatronic in the series to be based on a reptile. Goldindo is the only boss in Five Nights at Freddy's World to reward you with more Faz coins than experience points. In the first game, it is actually possible to cut off Foxy's jump scare by running out of power, as displayed in Markiplier's fail compilation video.
Whoa, that's new! Power cut off Foxy's little entrance there.
However, this trick should not be relied upon every night, since it requires extremely strict timing. In FNAF World, there are actually several moves that are color codes incorrectly. For example, Cosmic Song is labeled as a stat booster, even though it is actually a powerful attack. Fourth Wall is labeled as a move that decreases enemy stats, even though it does extreme amounts of damage to them instead. Bad Pizza is labeled as a poison attack, despite not having any poisonous effects on enemies. Escape Key is labeled as a miscellaneous move, even though it fits in more with the insta-kill moves. Bubble Breath is labeled as a healing move, even though it has no healing effects, instead protecting party members from poisonous attacks. Similarly to Fourth Wall, Slasher is labeled as a move that decreases enemy stats, even though it has a chance of instantly killing enemies instead. Finally, Neon Wall 2 is labeled as a powerful attack, despite fitting more into the miscellaneous category. When the updated edition of the Freddy files was first released, it was heavily criticized for containing a large amount of fan-made renders and incorrect information in the Ultimate Custom Night section. After receiving this criticism, Scott Cawthon promised that he would work with Scholastic, the book's publisher, to fix this. This seems to have been fixed with the book's digital release, which replaces all of the fan-made renders with Cawthon's official renders. However, the Springtrap head placed in Scraptrap's position has still not been fixed. Glitchtrap is the only character to have two official names, since Steel Wool Studios has approved of his fan nicknamed Malhair. In the third game, when Phantom Mangle is hanging from the ceiling in Camo 4, their right iris is actually split in half. One of the largest debates within the Five Nights at Freddy's fandom is Mangle's gender, with many arguing that they are female, due to their design, and many arguing that they are male, due to them being a variant of Foxy. When Scott Cawthon was asked about Mangle's gender, he replied that the answer was yes. However, it is unclear if he was merely joking or if he was trying to imply that Mangle is actually gender neutral. Because of the debate, I refer to Mangle with genderless pronouns on this channel, as to avoid angering people on either side of the debate. In Ultimate Custom Night, Trash and the gang's mechanics are described by 3 question marks, despite the group having one of the simplest behaviors in the game. When the group shot teaser for FNAF World was finally completed, several fans requested for Scott Cawthon to include a rainbow within the teaser. likely as a joke towards the game's cute aesthetics. While Cawthon did actually add a rainbow to the teaser's background, it would constantly be removed and re-included again, likely to troll everybody who had requested it. However, there is also the possibility that this rainbow may have been foreshadowing the final boss of Update 2, Chica's Magic Rainbow. Examining the fourth game's sprite of the crying child, that is used after he has been crushed within Fredbear's mouth, reveals that his head does not actually display any damage. However, this was most likely done because his head is largely obscured when Fredbear bites him. During the development of the first game, Scott Cawthon actually launched a Kickstarter campaign on the 14th of June, 2014, in order to crowdfund the game, with a goal of $10,000. There were also some rewards planned for backers who pledged a certain amount of money. Backers who pledged $10 to $24 would receive a pack of 5 desktop wallpapers. Backers who pledged $25 to $49 would receive both a wallpaper pack and an early release copy of the game, and backers who pledged $50 or over would be granted the role of a beta tester, along with new versions of the game on a weekly basis. Unfortunately, the Five Nights at Freddy's Kickstarter was an absolute failure, earning a grand sum of $0. However, this can be attributed to Cawthon cancelling the Kickstarter only 3 days after he initially launched it. In special delivery, once the player reaches a streak of 12 or higher, the animatronics will enter Rampage mode, though it will take until the player reaches a streak of 16 for Springtrap to enter Rampage mode. When an animatronic is in Rampage mode, their appearance will be much grimier, they will have red eyes for the entire encounter, and they will be much more aggressive overall, with the timings on their haywires and charges being much stricter. Also, entering Rampage mode will also increase an animatronic's drop rates. However, it is impossible for animatronics sent by other players to enter Rampage mode. During the development of FNAF World, 2 quote-unquote dark teasers were uploaded to scottgames.com, with their contents only visible when the image is brightened up. The first, and much grimmer, of these teasers depicted the adventure version of Mangle hanging from a string, with the phrase "see what you've all done." While Mangle himself is clearly dead, their second endoskeleton head is actually still alive, with an almost angry expression. However, this teaser was quickly removed only an hour after it was uploaded, after several controversial theories that the teaser was hinting towards some form of suicide. However, the teaser may instead be from the perspective of Cawthon's avatar within world itself, failing to maintain balance within his world. The second dark teaser seemed to support this interpretation, since it featured the face of the enemy Ball Boy, with the phrase "madness takes many forms." Springtrap's CPU, while he is a natural animatronic, is the rarest item within special delivery, with a minuscule drop rate of 4%. In FNAF World, all of the characters in the second to last row, with the exception of Springtrap, go unidentified during their challenger battles, only being described by 3 question marks. Freddy Fazbear's laughs are actually slowed down versions of a young girl's laugh. Of course, many fans have suggested that this Easter egg may imply that Freddy is actually possessed by a female spirit. Although the name of Freddy's spirit has been implied to be Gabriel, this theory is still valid, since Gabriel is actually a unisex name. An unedited version of Freddy's laugh can actually be heard when Golden Freddy is summoned into the office. Freddy Frostbear, the Arcade Mayhem animatronics, and Radioactive Foxy are the only animatronics whose appearances do not change as their conditions decrease in special delivery. Strangely, despite being a skin for Freddy Frostbear, Black Ice Prostbear actually does take damage as his condition decreases. The name Fazbear is likely a portmanteau of the names Fozzie Bear and Fazfazarkas. Fozzie Bear, of course, is a very popular Muppet, who himself was actually named after Fazfazarkas. Meanwhile, Frank Fazfazarkas himself was a well-known engineer for the Muppets, with one of his achievements being his creation of the mechanisms that allowed Fozzie Bear to wiggle his ears. Phantom Chica is the only Phantom animatronic to use a design from the first game, while the rest of the Phantoms are based on their incarnations from the second game. Interestingly, Indo02's climbing pose in Help Wanted is labeled as mod_Indo2_pose for Mangle, suggesting that he may possibly be a backup endoskeleton for Mangle, which may also explain why he appears as an Easter egg within Mangle's vent repair stage. Toy Freddy, Balloon Boy, Withered Freddy, and Withered Foxy are the only animatronics who return to their starting positions after being deterred in the second game. As I am sure that we are all aware, the bad ending of the third game displays the lit-up masks of the four main animatronics, along with a fifth animatronic in the background. However, in the good ending, where the spirits have been set free from the animatronics, the fifth mask is actually absent, rather than obscured by darkness. This may symbolize Golden Freddy/Cassidy's unwillingness to pass on and their desire to punish William Afton. Chica may have been inspired by the character of the same name from the Chica Show, a 2012 children's television show. The main character is a yellow chicken puppet named Chica, who bears a strong resemblance to Chica from Five Nights at Freddy's. When Phantom Mangle hangs from the ceiling in the third game, their wires actually hang upwards rather than downwards as they should. However, this may be attributed to Phantom Mangle's status as a hallucination, even though this error would carry over to Mangle in Ultimate Custom Night. When examining Withered Chica's Help Wanted model, you may notice that there are actually some slight bloodstains spread across her suit. It is possible that this may come from the decomposing corpse of the child within Withered Chica. During the FNAF 57, Freddy in Space minigame in Update 2 of FNAF World, Scott's head actually makes references to several films while listing multiple planned sequels. First of all, FNAF 59, Cupcake Takes Manhattan is likely a reference to either 1984's The Muppets Take Manhattan or 1989's Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Next, FNAF 60, Breakfast at Chica's is likely a reference to 1961's Breakfast at Tiffany's. Next, FNAF 61, Freddy v. Bonnie may be a reference to either 2003's Freddy vs. Jason or 2016's Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, the latter being more likely, since both it and FNAF World received hype and poor reception upon their release. Finally, FNAF 62, Balloon Boy's Revenge is likely a reference to 1985's A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. There are several hints that William Afton is actually right-handed. Firstly, in the second game, he wields his object with his right hand. Next, in Help Wanted, Glitch Trap waves with his right hand. Finally, in Special Delivery, Springtrap charges with his right hand, reaching out to grab you. Occasionally, in the fourth game, Nightmare Chica can be heard knocking around pots and pans when she is in the far right corner of the house, possibly a kitchen. This is, of course, a reference to Chica's behavior while inside the first game's kitchen. Brightening up Phantom Balloon Boy's teaser actually reveals the number 10 in the bottom left corner of the image. During the development of FNAF World, Scott Cawthon revealed that he had originally planned for there to be a countdown of 10 teasers, leading up to the release of the third game, and that the Guess Who teaser was to be the first of them. However, Cawthon wound up releasing the game early, resulting in this plan being scrapped. On night 3 of the Danger Keep Out mode in Curse of Dreadbear, there is a chance that the phone will not ring upon starting the stage. Picking up the phone will result in a series of loud beeps, with the monitor eventually displaying the phrase "scanning for glitches." During this scan, the state's textures will become extremely glitchy and purple, and the animatronics will be unable to attack you. After a few seconds, the monitor will instead display the phrase "no glitches found," and you will be transported to the DLC's title screen. Achieving the Lawkeeper certificate will actually unlock an extra screen for the end of the completion ending. This screen depicts part of a cemetery with 6 gravestones. The first 4 gravestones have the names Gabriel, Fritz, Susie, and Jeremy engraved into them, suggesting that these are the names of the children who possessed Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy. However, the 5th gravestone is obscured by grass, while the 6th is placed on a hill in the background. It is likely that the 5th gravestone reads Cassidy, while the 6th gravestone reads Charlotte, since these are the names of the children who possess Golden Freddy and the puppet. In the original mobile version of Sister Location, Funtime Freddy's AI in the breaker room is significantly higher, to the point where he can even attack without the player pulling up the monitor. Thankfully, his AI was much more balanced in the remastered port. During the second half of Special Delivery's First Blast from the Past, all of Shamrock Freddy's shop assets were actually updated to fit with the current template. When he was first introduced, the animatronics shop packages consisted of their eyeless heads within the same red and white packaging. However, as started with VR Toy Freddy, they now consist of the animatronics fully featured heads within uniquely themed packaging, with Shamrock Freddy's assets being updated to fit with this new template. In with a Bonnie's custom night mugshot in the second game, his bow tie actually clips through his lower jaw. In Ultimate Custom Night, Nightmare's laugh is slightly deeper than that of Nightmare Fredbear, which can be helpful to know if you hear one of them laugh while you have the monitor up. Nightmare's kill screen, in the 4th game, is actually one of the last frames of Nightmare Fredbear's jump scare, but mirrored, slightly zoomed in, and recolored black. 3 of Pig Patch's voice lines in Ultimate Custom Night are based on ancient Japanese proverbs, with him referring to the player failing at their area of expertise.
Even monkeys fall from trees.
Them allegedly causing trouble.
The nail that sticks out gets hammered down.
And talented people choosing to not brag about their talents.
The talented hawk hides his claws.
Strangely, the Security Puppets gift box is copyrighted as Magic Puppet Box, a recurring and mysterious phrase throughout the Five Nights at Freddy's series, is "It's me." As I mentioned in Fact 154, this phrase is one of the visual hallucinations that can briefly appear at random intervals in the first game. However, there are 2 more Easter eggs in the first game that involve this phrase. First of all, when Foxy leaves Pirate's Cove, there is a chance of the sign changing from "sorry, out of order" to "it's me." However, this Easter egg cannot occur when Foxy is inside the cove. Secondly, there is a chance of the posters within the East Hall being replaced with the phrase "it's me," drawn several times on the walls, similarly to the Crying Child posters. As the franchise has expanded, the phrase "it's me" has come to be widely associated with the enigmatic Golden Freddy. In the second game, the phrase will actually appear for a brief second at the end of the cutscenes that appear on nights 2 and 3, the latter featuring Golden Freddy himself. In FNAF World, Golden Freddy's loading screen features the phrase at his supposed catchphrase. When completing a stage in Curse of Dreadbear, there is a low chance of 3 clown posters appearing within the prize barn. Managing to throw darts at all 3 posters will actually cause the phrase "it's me" to appear on the banners within the barn. Finally, upon encountering Golden Freddy within Special Delivery, or any animatronic that is equipped with his CPU, the phrase will actually appear for a brief second at the beginning of the encounter. Funtime Chico is the most expensive item in Pizzeria Simulator, costing $72,000. In Special Delivery, the characters have the same icons for their CPUs and their avatar icons, with the sole exception so far being Mangle. In Mangle's avatar icon, their second endoskeleton head is positioned above their primary head, whereas it is positioned to the right of their primary head in their CPU icon. Within the files of Sister Location, there exists an unused image of Ballora staring through the primary control module window, with her faceplate open and the area lit up. It is highly likely that this image was planned to be used when giving Ballora a controlled shock. In the 4th game's Halloween edition, the only part of Nightmare Mangle that moves during their room jump scare is their primary head, with the rest of their body being stiff. Upon analyzing Ballora's blueprints and the circumstances surrounding the private room, you may realize that Ballora should have no way of knowing where the player is during the custom night. First of all, the player does not make any sounds throughout the entire night, outside of using the monitor and doors, so Ballora's audio activation sensor should not be able to detect them. Also, Ballora has her eyes closed during her jump scare, which means that she does not use them to detect the player either. By this logic, Ballora should not have any way of knowing that the player is situated within the private room's office, but she is still able to do so through unknown means. In the second game, the withered animatronics are actually only ever referred to with their original incarnations' names. For years, fans took to referring to them as either the old animatronics or the withered animatronics, before the latter term was canonized in the Freddy files in 2017. Rockstar Chica's ultimate custom night mechanics, which involve scaring her away with a wet floor sign, imply that she has bassophobia, the fear of falling or being unable to stand up and walk. Contrary to popular belief, Mangel's infamous radio static is not actually a police report of bad reception, but is actually a pre-recorded sound of telemetry from a drone, with faint vocals from its controller. One scrapped feature from Special Delivery was several Faz facts that would reveal more of the series' lore. While most of the facts are actually fairly common knowledge, such as the springlock suits and William Afton's status as the creator of the animatronics, one interesting fact is that Rockstar Bonnie was actually manufactured from parts of the original Bonnie, suggesting that he, along with the other Rockstars, may contain small portions of remnant from the original animatronics. A blueprint of Molten Freddy was planned for inclusion in Pizzeria Simulator, presumably for the Insanity ending, but was ultimately scrapped. The blueprint merely contains already revealed information, such as Molten Freddy's true identity as Inad, as well as his possession of remnant from the other fun times. The second game's trailer begins with a group of children singing the nursery rhyme "London Bridge is falling down."
London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady.
It is very commonly believed that, by reversing the song, you can actually hear the children chanting "Mike, kill all." However, you have to consider that the rhyme itself was written centuries ago in 1744, with earlier versions being written even earlier than that, so this quote-unquote secret may just be a coincidence. However, people may attempt to justify this secret's existence by pointing to one of the many interpretations of the rhyme. One of the proposed explanations for London Bridge is falling down is that it refers to the sacrifice and burial of children close to London Bridge in order to maintain its stability, which is a rather morbid interpretation. However, this interpretation is fairly flawed, since there is no archaeological evidence of any human remains being entombed within the foundations of London Bridge. This, combined with the reveal that Mike is not actually the killer, severely weakens this supposed Easter egg's legitimacy. If you pay attention to the ending of the fourth game's trailer, then you may notice that the nightmare jump scare scream sounds slightly more ferocious than it does in the actual game. If you pay close attention to Ballora's extras image within Sister Location, then you may notice that the mini-arenas are actually spelling out baby with their arms and legs. Scott Cawthon's claim that Funtime Foxy is an introvert is contradicted by Ultimate Custom Night's portrayal of the character as a loud, enthusiastic ringmaster.
A performance was demanded of me, and now I have delivered! Encore!
In the minigame Mangel's Quest in the third game, Mangel is pursued by a person, possibly a child, wearing a green shirt and blue trousers. However, if you were extremely observant during the first two games, then you may know that we have actually seen this character before. In the second game, This green shirt blue jeans character can be seen in two different drawings on the pizzeria's walls. One drawing depicts him as fascinated by Chica, while the other drawing depicts him ripping apart Mangle. In the first game, the green shirt blue jeans character only appears in one drawing, which depicts him as surprised by Bonnie as he emerges from a gift box. Interestingly, this seems to be an older version of the character, as evidenced by the addition of hair. In Curse of Dreadbear, if you flip the black light switch and press the button behind the monitor in the main hub, then Glitchtrap will appear on the hills in the background, and perform the same dance that he performed during the game's credits sequence. When comparing Bonnie and Chica's positions within the dining area in the first game, Chica seems to tower over Bonnie. However, this may have just been an oversight, since all of the pair's later appearances have depicted them as being equal in height. Withered Golden Freddy and Nightmare Mangle are the only two pre-sister location animatronics to be absent from FNAF World. And finally, a recurring Easter egg throughout the series is pressing on some form of Freddy's nose to create a honking sound. This Easter egg was first introduced in the first game as a mild source of comic relief, but has since carried over into every other game. The way that this Easter egg is triggered varies between games. The original trilogy involves clicking on Freddy's nose on a poster. Five Nights 4, Sister Location, Pizzeria Simulator, and Ultimate Custom Night involve pressing on the nose of a Freddy plush show model, and World, Help Wanted, and Special Delivery involve pressing on Freddy's nose within a menu. And with that, those are 255 Nights at Freddy's facts that you may or may not have known. Originally, I planned to make an extremely long video detailing every single Easter egg within the series. However, due to a number of factors, the project was originally cancelled. Instead, I decided to make a video discussing a high number of facts related to the series, because I thought that it would make for a more varied video, and because making a later video on every single error within the series would be extremely tedious. In fact, this video's script actually reuses segments from the Easter eggs video's initial script, so this facts video could be considered to be a reworking of the planned Easter eggs video. This is the longest discussion video that I have made so far, but I had a lot of fun with researching, writing, and editing this video, and I hope that everybody has enjoyed this video as well. My next video will definitely be much shorter, since I have several fairly long videos in a row, and I may need to unwind a little. With everything being said, that will be all for this video. Please like the video if you enjoyed it. Feel free to share discussions in the comments section, and please consider supporting the channels that I mentioned in the opening, as well as my own. Thank you for watching. My word, I am exhausted.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.